Allah. Amen.
Yo, ntina meka kire akontumfo no mam radio epede suasom mam radio epe afutu mam radio ofutufo papa epe nsechiri ba wa abrabom mam radio Gulf country nya hu adanse Asia fo Europe fo African fo na babiara adanse de mam radio oye onyanko papa amen.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon to our cherished listeners and viewers on Mam Online. That's on Mam TV and Mam Radio app. You are welcome to our weekly health program. That's the Mamphec app, and it's some few minutes past 3 p.m. and it's a Saturday, the 21st of October 2017. Today on Mamphec app, we are discussing sickle cell anemia. And I have with me here in the studio Sister Mariam as usual to help us discuss today's topic, sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is one thing that is in the system.
Mam radio.
But I hardly hear about it. I don't know if I have not had the chance to actually listen to such programs, but it's something that we usually don't hear. So today on the Mamphec, we'll be doing something small with regards to sickle cell anemia. And as I stated earlier, our sister Mariam is also here to help us do that. So I would like our cherished listeners and viewers to stay tuned as we go for a small commercial break.
Yo, ntina meka kire akontumfo no mam radio epede suasom mam radio epe afutu mam radio ofutufo papa epe nsechiri ba wa abrabom mam radio Gulf country nya hu adanse Asia fo Europe fo African fo na babiara di adanse de mam radio oye onyanko papa amen. Mam radio.
Wallahi, Al-Jannah to Firdaus is our limit, inshallah. Amen.
On your Google Play Store, download and install Mam Radio. Tap and listen 24 hours of Dawah in Asantuchi, English and Hausa language. Keep sharing the link, inshallah.
Welcome back to the Mamphec hour. And before we went on the commercial break, I said we'll be discussing sickle cell anemia together with our sister Mariam. So you can join the discussion by logging onto our links and also downloading the online app on our Google Play Store. And you can also join the discussion by sending your messages on these WhatsApp lines 0200733367 and also 0246751175. You can, if you're outside the shores of Ghana, all you need to do is to add the +233 to the various numbers I just mentioned, and you can also call directly on 0322494026. I'm Husseina Ibrahim Adungo, your host, and you have with me here Sister Mariam, who will be helping us to discuss the topic for today. So before we start, I would like Sister Mariam to introduce herself so we kickstart with today's program.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
I'm Sulemaan and Mariam as usual, as you all know.
Okay. So like she stated, she's Sulemaan and Mariam, a mother, a wife. So she knows more and will be helping us. She's been helping us and she continues to help us. So before we start, I would like us to just know some few facts about sickle cell anemia before we delve into the main issue. So sickle cell anemia is an inherited disorder of the hemoglobin in blood. And hemoglobin is an oxygen carrying protein that is within the red blood cells. Sickle cell anemia requires the inheritance of two sickle cell genes. That is the SS genes, one from the mother, then one from the father. So it is gotten from both parents. And also sickle cell trait, which is the inheritance of sickle cell genes or sickle gene, almost never causes problems. Of one, that is if you inherit one. So possibly someone with AS1 sickle gene. So the person doesn't have the complete or the 2 sickle cell genes. So that one or that person is almost never, it doesn't cause problems for such a person. Then most of the major symptoms of sickle cell anemia are as a direct result of what? The abnormally shaped sickled red blood cell. So the word sickle here, if you are someone who did something small about agriculture, we have the sickle shape, which is used in most of our farming activities. So that is how it's the blood looks, or the red blood cell that looks exactly like the sickle. That's why it is termed the sickle cell red blood cell. And the current treatment for sickle cell anemia is directly or primarily towards managing the individual features of the illness. So what you see about that individual, that is what they use to treat, because it's not curable. It's treated. So that is what they look into to treat. They look at the signs they see in the person. So maybe they see a particular sign, then they try to at least manage it or treat it to manage or to minimize the pain or whatever the person is going through. So that is something small we will need to know, but we will still go into it more to understand what it actually means. Sister Mariam, can you please, let's just, what sickle cell anemia itself is, what it is.
Cell anemia, others also call it the sickle cell disease, describe a group of inherited red blood cells disorders. And people with this disease normally have abnormal hemoglobin called a hemoglobin S or sickle hemoglobin in their red blood cells. And I'll show you an image which shows the normal blood cells and the sickle blood cells. The round one is the normal blood cells, and the one like a sickle form, that's what is called the sickle cell or sickle hemoglobin. So the round one, the full one. The full one is the normal blood cells, and the sickle shape is what we call the sickle cell. And when the blood is flowing through the the veins, because the hemoglobin is not in the normal shape, it goes, when it's passing through the veins, they get choked together. So whilst it is passing through, that's when the patient gets that pain, the sharp pain in either the joint and the head, and some of them also get very pale. And so this sickle cell anemia, as we say, is something very, 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 very dangerous, and it comes in many forms. We have the hemoglobin SS, as you said. We have the hemoglobin SC and hemoglobin SD and hemoglobin SE. That's the little what I got. Some of the forms of the sickle cell disease that we've got. Yeah. That's what I can
thank you very much, Sister Mariam. So we are discussing sickle cell, and from what my sister just explained, we've seen something as to why it is called the sickle cell. But what relation does it have with the anemia? Though we know it's,
you see, it's like it said that the hemoglobin is a protein in the red blood cells that carries oxygen through the body, right? And if the hemoglobin that gives the body protein is not sufficient or functioning up to its as it's supposed to function. It gives the body some how they call it disadvantages, and the body does not function well. And they say that the sickle cell is inherited, and inheritance doesn't mean that the disease is passed. If it is inherited, it means that the disease is passed through a disease. It is passed through the genes from the parent to their children. And the SCD is not contagious. If you have a sickle cell, that doesn't mean that when I sit close to you, I can get it. And a person cannot catch it like a cold or infection from someone else. No. So as the hemoglobin is in the system, if it is not fully shaped, at least the body will get the disadvantages of not being fully shaped.
Thank you, Sulemaan. But I would just like to add something small to what she just said. From the little research I did, when the red blood cell is in the form of a sickle shape, it's kind of prone and it ruptures easily. So if you have more of the red blood cells in that form, the chances of it rupturing is very easy. So as it ruptures, that means the red blood cells reduces.
Of course,
and we know what causes anemia. Loss of what? Blood could be a reason. So if the red blood cells that produces blood keeps rupturing, that means it's not performing its work very well. And definitely it's the number, the blood within the person's system reduces. So in that way, that is when the anemia comes in. So that is the linkage between the sickle cell. Hence, that's how it's got the name, the sickle cell anemia. Because if you have it, you continuously have such issues with regards to anemia. That's why the anemia, I think the anemia is somehow attached
to the sickle cell.
So, like you stated, that the irregular sickle cell can also block blood vessels, causing tissues and organ damage. So, and it causes pain, like you stated earlier. So, Sister Mariam, we've seen that sickle cell is inherited. But is it always the case that
I come to your question? This is
This
is how the blood flows through the human how they call it, veins. This is the fully shaped how they call it, blood cells. It flows freely through the veins, and this is the sickle cell how they call it, sickle shaped hemoglobin. When it's flowing through the veins, it gets blocked with each other. This is what brings out the pain to the patient.
So that means even because it blocks it, that place kind of looks swollen.
Yes, that's what causes the pain in the individual.
Okay. So back to the question. Is it always the case that maybe if I have parents, or we say one of our parents or one of my parents is having the trait, you know, we have some people who have just the trait. They are not having the full SS, so they are not supposed to have the trait. So maybe I go to the hospital to do the test and I realize I have the S. Does it mean I have to also go through all these things?
The fact that you have the trait, you see, that's why they normally say that before you get married to your spouse, you have to go in to check your sickle status before you get married, right? And as maybe you are AS, and you're going your spouse that you're about to get married to is also AS. The possibility of you people giving birth to an SS sickle cell child is very high. But if you are AS and your spouse is AA, the possibility of you giving birth to a sickle cell child is
lower because
because it's just one S. But if you are AS and your spouse is also AS, there's also a high possibility of giving birth to a sickle cell child.
So that means we have carriers who just have it. They are not sickle.
They
just have the trait.
Okay,
thank you very much. So just to add a little to what she said, we have traits, that's the carriers. And if you learn or if you study genetics, there are a whole lot of things parents pass on to their kids. That's during reproduction, I think, is it 43 chromosomes? If I remember very well, it's about 46 chromosomes. Yes, 23 from the mother and 23 from the father.
Yeah.
So if it happens that both parents are having the sickle cell gene, each they are let me say they are carriers.
Oh, they are all
the
carriers.
mother is a carrier, the father is a carrier.
Yeah.
The chances of the offspring that will bring forth, who like have that offspring is likely
to be SS. Yes.
If not all, at least
Ma'am
one.
Radio.
Yes.
One of the kids will have SS, sickle cell.
Yeah.
And quite apart from that, there's a case that only one of the parents is having the trait. The trait.
Yeah.
So in that case, the child they bring forth, one of their children is
have the trait.
Is going to have the trait.
Yeah.
So like you said, before we have carriers and they are as normal as human beings here. They don't show signs of any symptoms like the sickle cell patients have. So those people should rather be careful when they are going out to seek for someone to marry. Because you were lucky, maybe one of your parents wasn't having, so you just had the trait. So since you were that lucky, you need to take precautions
before
when getting married.
Because
you wouldn't like to bring a child into the world to suffer or possibly lose a child after some
Ma'am Radio.
So they need to be careful when dealing with such issues. Sickle cell is very dangerous.
Yes.
It's very dangerous in the sense that you give birth to a child. Possibly from the beginning you might not see the signs. But as the child grows, from what I read, maybe from the first day of delivery to the first 5 months or so, you won't see any of the signs. But right from 5 months getting to 1 year, that's when you see those signs, and possibly by then it will be too late. And you wouldn't like to give birth to a child and lose a child or see the child suffer.
Of course.
Because sickle cell comes with a whole lot of pain.
That's why mostly when the pregnant women attend the antenatal care visit on the first day, they make sure that they run this test on her, just to be sure that she doesn't. If she said there's a trait or a carrier, they'll know how to handle her and give her certain drugs that wouldn't affect the child.
I happened to watch one documentary on I think UTV or so, concerning this sickle cell, and they had personalities like these health professionals, nurses, doctors who were talking about it. And I think some of these signs are known, and they make it known to the parents. Let's say you go for this sickle cell issue, you go for the test, then you realize that the one you are going in for is a carrier, then you are equally a carrier. Possibly you are even SS. It's just that maybe you were lucky enough to have survived up to that time. Because I read a story of one lady, I think she's past her 30s, and she's married with a child. She's sickle cell, but she has been able to survive. So if it happens that you go in for the test, you are told clearly that it's best you split ways, or you decide to marry without giving birth, then you adopt. But I think it's I don't know if it is love, possibly, let me put it that way. They consider some of these things they've gone through all these years, then to think that just after a test they are going to split ways, it's quite difficult. So they tend to shun it, then go ahead with whatever marriage. But when the problem starts coming, that is when you realize that yes, the love will diminish. Seriously.
It's true.
Because it happened that one lady said, and even the person was like, the man was educated, a radio presenter, got married, they were told, then after they gave birth to the child showed signs of these things. Right at the hospital in front of the nurse, he told the woman that he can't stay with her again.
That's it.
Maybe now that you've realized that the issue that will be coming with it is going to be difficult, you realize that it's the best thing for you to leave the lady. But earlier on, you could have done that to let the lady go on a separate way, then you also go on your separate way, but you chose to go on with it. And now that the problems are coming, you are running away. And one lady too had, I think she was from a well-to-do family, and I think the husband was supportive, because when she gave birth, she was not even giving birth. Then she went to the hospital, and she was told that, like, from her status, the chances of her getting a sickle child was high, and she said she would pay any amount just to make sure, she gives birth without a sickle. And they assured her, the doctor assured her that they will make sure that the child she gives birth to is not sickled.
Yeah.
Then later, after she gave birth to the child, after some few months, the child started showing signs of, and she thought it was just some normal sickness. Then she sent the child to the hospital. Then after a series of tests, she was told the child was a sickler. At that moment, she just collapsed.
And that was all.
Just right in front there. She just collapsed because she paid a lot to make sure. But nature is nature.
Yeah.
You can try to do a whole lot to alternate it, but
can't stop it.
It can't be stopped if it's really meant to happen.
Radio.
So that's just something small. Or Sister Mariam, you have something else to say about it?
Not really.
Okay. So we would move on to how to diagnose, or how sickle cell patients are diagnosed.
Okay.
Sister Mariam, what are some of the series of tests these people are made to go through to determine whether they have this condition, this sickle cell condition?
Just a minute. Okay. Actually, as I said, it is normally through the prenatal screening. When the pregnant woman goes to visit the hospital for the first time, they do such screening. And when a baby too is also, a newborn baby is also born,
Radio.
it also goes through that screening. And and then this normal screening, this health screening that goes on in our vicinities, is also a way of getting to know your
sickle cell. Okay.
Yeah.
And quite apart from that, there is this other test. That's the prep test. Some few tests, sickle cell. And this one, the test is typically performed on a smear of blood. So I think they take blood samples using especially low oxygen preparation.
Yeah.
So I think they take some sample of your blood. And some even go to, I think, the bone marrow. The bone marrow is where these red blood cells are produced.
Yeah.
So in case they want to, I think I watched a movie, and that one they had to insert something into the bone marrow to determine. I think the child was suffering from leukemia.
Oh, okay.
So I think they can just go directly in there to check for all those things. And in addition to what she said, as Sister Mariam said, that's a prenatal diagnosis. That's also used to, that is for maybe even if the child is not born, you can use that to determine whether the fetus coming out is a sickle cell. Sickle cell. So, okay. So we'd like to go for a short commercial break. So when we come back, we will go into the rest of the discussion.
On your Google Play Store, download and install Mam Radio. Tap and listen 24 hours of DAWAH in Asante English and Hausa language. Keep sharing the link, inshallah.
Mam Radio. Wallahi, Al-Jannah to Firdaus is our limit, inshallah. Amen.
Yo, ntina meka kyerɛ akontumfo no, Mam Radio, epɛdɛ suasom, Mam Radio, epɛ afutu, Mam Radio, ofutufo papa, epɛ nsɛkyiri baa wɔ abrabom, Mam Radio, Gulf country nyinaa di ho adanse, Asiafo, Europefo, Africanfo, na baabiara di adanse dɛ Mam Radio ɔyɛ ɔnyanko papa. Amen. Mam Radio. Yo, ntina meka kyerɛ akontumfo no, Mam Radio, epɛdɛ suasom, Mam Radio, epɛ afutu, Mam Radio, ofutufo papa, epɛ nsɛkyiri baa wɔ abrabom, Mam Radio, Gulf country nyinaa di ho adanse, Asiafo, Europefo, Africanfo, na baabiara di adanse dɛ Mam Radio ɔyɛ ɔnyanko papa. Amen.
Mam Radio. Wallahi, Al-Jannah to Firdaus is our limit, inshallah. Amen.
Yo, ntina meka kyerɛ akontumfo no, Mam Radio, epɛdɛ suasom, Mam Radio, epɛ afutu, Mam Radio, ofutufo papa, epɛ nsɛkyiri baa wɔ abrabom, Mam Radio, Gulf country nyinaa di ho adanse, Asiafo, Europefo, Africanfo, na baabiara di adanse dɛ Mam Radio ɔyɛ ɔnyanko papa. Amen.
Okay, so welcome back to the Mamphec. I'm just going to continue from where we just ended. So, Auntie Mariam, so what are some of the signs you see in someone who is sickle cell, who is a sickle cell patient? There are some few signs that I think you would identify in such a person with sickle cell.
Oh, okay. There we have some. You have the early signs and symptoms. Some of them can get a painful swelling of the hands and feet, and also some also get fatigue from anemia, and also some also have the yellowish color of the skin known as jaundice, or some also have their eyes very white, very pale, and this pain too can strike almost anywhere in the body, and in more than one spot at a time. But the pain often occurs in the lower back, the legs, the arms, the abdomen and chest. And a crisis can be brought on by illness if the temperature changes. Normally when the weather is very cold, they normally suffer their crisis. And also one thing that brings about it is the how do you call it, dehydration. If the person doesn't drink enough water, and being at high altitudes, some of them, when they get to higher altitudes, it brings about their crisis. I had a friend who was a sickle cell patient, but what she does is that every month she takes folic acid. Anytime her crisis, I think she is AS. Anytime her crisis comes, she takes the folic acid, and her crisis comes down. Yeah.
So I'll just let's eye down some few.
And also we have some also get this severe anemia, and they are also very prone to infection, like the pneumococcus, the Haemophilus influenza type B, meningitis, yes, and the salmonella, yes, and the chlamydia. They become very they are very much prone to these infections, and the bacteria over there can cause the blood infection, the lung infections, and the infections that covers the brain and the spinal cord. That's the meningitis.
That means
and they also
their
they
immune
get
system is not that
very
strong.
low. Yeah, and they are also very prone to the bone infection because the blood or the hemoglobin doesn't float very well into in the bones, so they normally get this bone infection. Yeah.
Just, I think you've just dealt with everything concerning the.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to add a little to it, is that most times they have what, fatigue and what, anemia.
Yeah.
They have pain, just like what you said. Then we have swelling and inflammation of the hands and the feet, like you said, arthritis.
And some of them also, you can see sickle cell patients. The person might be very old, but because of the little, you see the person, you think the person is very, it delays their puberty growth.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also
and you have bacterial infection, then lung and heart injury, like you stated,
and the joint complication. They also get lung ulcer and
eye damage.
And when it gets to the brain, that's when it brings about the mental
disorder.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's also affected.
Okay. So. Okay, so just some few things just we need to know about the sickle cell. Earlier on we stated that possibly from the first day of delivery to the first 5 months, you are likely not to see some of these changes.
Yeah.
But after the 5 months, that's when you see some of the signs of this sickle cell anemia. And it's quite a difficult thing. I also have one lady, she's even a medical student as of now. Possibly that was one thing that pushed her to do it. She's very brilliant. And she hardly works.
That is it.
She hardly works. Because the little work she does,
she gets tired.
And she gets these crises. But all the same, she's been able to manage her till university, and she's in her fourth year now.
If they give you the precautions and how to take care of yourself, and you're able to follow it accordingly, you can live for a very long time.
Yeah, because she's very good. She's very intelligent. It's just so there are some few things she does. She hardly do these difficult work some people will do, but she keeps. She's serving as more of as an ambassador. Because I think that's one reason why she decided to venture into the medical field.
Okay.
So that at least possibly she can also help the rest of the people around her who have this crisis or they have this issue. So I think just to add something, like people with crisis have short life expectancy.
Yeah.
Some hardly grow up to, I think, first 5 years. Hardly,
yeah.
Majority.
It's just a few that survive through their puberty into their old age before.
And most times, possibly, that's if the child comes from a well-to-do family.
That is it. Because they'll go to any length to keep their child alive. Yeah.
So, I think if you joined us or if you were listening to us today, we're discussing sickle cell anemia. And like I stated, it's something I hardly hear about. And I don't think people even consider doing the test.
They never consider.
I don't think people
take it very lightly.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think I heard about sickle cell test. That's when I was leaving campus.
Oh, okay.
Just when I was leaving. I even did the test. I didn't take the results.
It's about in the middle of this year that I had them trying to create awareness for the sickle cell.
It's becoming a problem. I think
they've tried setting down a specific day that they celebrate sickle cell
day. Okay, just like other celebrations.
Yes, that's what they do.
I think that's quite an impressive thing to do, and we would duly support these day celebrations. I think this year we are not up to date with some of these days. But inshallah, we promise that maybe from this day till from this day another few years coming around, we will try to. I think we have hepatitis day, we have breast cancer day, we have mental disorder. I think what is it? Mental what?
I think they have the mental disorder day or whatever.
I think this year I've been seeing a whole lot of celebration of these.
I think ahead of the World Heart Day.
Yes. Sanitation Day. Yeah. I think it's now becoming a usual thing. So we'll just have to keep abreast with some of these days, so that as and when they are celebrating it, Mamphec will join to celebrate. I think so far we've come to the end of today's topic, and we were discussing Mamphec. We were discussing sickle cell anemia. Sorry, it's been Mamphec, and we came around with sickle cell anemia, and I was doing the discussion. I was in the studio here with our sister Mariam, Sulemaan, and I think it's been quite an impressive topic. It's something that we need to know, and as usual, Mamphec comes your way with important topics that needs to be addressed in society. And as we are talking, I would like to remind our members, people listening and watching us, about our programs. Mamphec Mamphec has a lot to do, seriously. Though we didn't start very well this year, but we hopefully want to end the year with a whole lot of packages. We have a whole lot of packages we want to just, and we can't do it alone. Mamphec can't do it alone. We are trying our best, but it can't be done alone. We have our cleanup exercise coming up just next week, exactly a week today. And
that will be in Offensor Deja.
Yes, Offensor Deja. For when we are having our DAWAH trip, is scheduled as part of our
next week Saturday we won't be here, right?
We won't be here. Okay. So next week we are going to Offensor Deja. You hear from us. You won't hear from us in the studio here, but you hear from us at Offensor Deja. You see our videos and our pictures of the thing we'll be doing over there. Inshallah, we pray Allah makes us meet that day in good health. Inshallah. And quite apart from that, in the month of November, we plan on organizing a reproductive health talk, and this too needs money. Yes, our sisters, we discussed teenage pregnancy right here in the studio. It's not about the talking. You want to plan and go outside to talk to. Though I know some of us need it here on the studio.
It will be a very important thing if you talk about how to call it, pregnancy.
Yes.
On this platform.
Yes.
At least to let our ladies and women to know how.
It is.
Pregnancy, because you see, someone can get pregnant and the person will be there. She wouldn't know she's pregnant unless maybe she noticed that her menses is not in about 2 or 3 months time.
Yes, and we are actually targeting our junior high schools.
Of course,
those that are now entering into senior high school. We have to let them know what it is, so that when they go or when they change their new environment into the senior high school, where a whole lot of things happen, they will know what it is, what they are going into, and how to manage themselves or how to prevent themselves from such cases. And inshallah, in December, like we brought to you last year on our blood donation, this year we are coming we are coming your way again with hepatitis B screening. And I know a whole lot of people know what is going on in our country here, not only our country.
This hepatitis B screening.
Yes.
And if possible, will there be how they call it? Vaccination.
Inshallah. We are praying we get our sponsors, and we are praying people come in to help us, and you are the very people who will help us, because we have a whole lot of people out there who don't know their status with regards to hepatitis B.
It's a good thing, because I learned that now the leading how they call it disease that is spreading very fast is hepatitis B. And these days, when it happens, they don't see it. It just comes.
A whole lot of people are not aware of it, and because of that, people die not knowing they had hepatitis B, because it kills silently.
Of course. And one thing that hepatitis B hits is alcohol.
Yes. So we need to go out. It's not just about the screening. It's not just about the vaccination. We are creating an awareness on hepatitis B, and we don't plan on doing it at
Husseina,
just one
place. I think
place.
that it will be best if that after next week after the program, when we come back, I'd like us to talk
on hepatitis B. Yes.
To educate
It's very
them more.
serious.
Yeah.
So we have our mothers, we have our fathers out there, and they are not aware of this condition, this issue of hepatitis B, and they are dying without knowing it, especially in our rural areas. They are not aware of such thing in our society. So we, the few ones that are aware of it, we need to go out there and create an awareness on it, and we need your help. Please, we need your support. So you can send your donations on, or your monies on 0544. That's the mobile money number. You can send it on 0544 657 810, or you can contact any of the above lines we stated or we called out. That's 020077. You can call or WhatsApp these numbers: 0200773367 or 0246751175. If you are outside the shores of Ghana, all you need to do is to add the +233 to it, and you will be answered. You can also call directly on 0322494026. So till we come your way again, it's been Mamphec, and we pray next week we won't be in the studio to join you, but we'll be live at Ofensua Deja with our cleanup exercise. So till we meet again, inshallah, next 2 weeks in the studios here, we are just saying that eat well, exercise, and stay healthy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
And don't do what we wouldn't do. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Baby na.
Yo, ntina meka kire akontumfo no, mam radio, epede suasom, mam radio, epe afutu, mam radio, ofutufo papa, epe nsechiri ba wa brabom, mam radio, Gulf country nya hu adanse, Asia fo, Europe fo, African fo, na babiara di adanse de mam radio, oye onyan.